Magic Winxology.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Magic Winxology. Happy November 4th. Oh my gosh, happy Friday. I hope you guys are doing amazing. I am just chilling. I've got my iced mocha latte. It's literally an iced latte with mocha syrup. So, welcome to the second episode. Hope it wasn't too underwhelming when the transition just faded right into the same exact picture that you started with. I recorded these first 3 episodes all at once, so I wanted to just give a formal introduction to the episode here. It's looking fall outside. Fall. Oh, you know, it's actually kind of beautiful. I know, it's actually kind of beautiful. I was a little hesitant, if you may have seen my fall rant on my main channel, which is very real. It was very real, because I don't like it when it's like the dead depths of December in New York when like it hasn't snowed yet and it's like that in-between period. That's what I don't like those off years when the weather doesn't have its act together. That's what I don't like. But when it does have its act together, I'm like, okay, just give me the beautiful fall and then give me the snow, give me beautiful January, February, March, Shamrock Shake, Valentine's. I'm all here for it. Anyways, in this episode, we are going to be talking about all of the dubs and the history behind them and things like that. I'm very excited. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you guys think. Send me a voice clip, email me, follow my podcast Instagram. Check out my link tree. You can also check out my personal Instagram if you would like. Magic Winxology is now streaming wherever you get your podcasts, so be sure to check that out if YouTube is not for you. Hope you guys enjoy the episode. Let's get into it. So I want to move on to talk about the dubs. What am I talking about? Dubs. What is all this? So when Winx Club, the Italian cartoon, came to Italy, it was pretty simple. The voice actors, Letizia Ciampa, per la Liberatori, Ilaria Latini, Domitia D'Amico, and Gemma Donati, when they were cast, the characters were cast before even the characters' designs were finalized, and the actors were shown black and white sketches of their roles. Which is a little bit of history. The actors record their lines in Rome, as in they are the current voice actors in 2022. And they started before even 2004. So they go in the studio, they record their voices from seasons 1 through 4. They were the foundation. They didn't have to match the duration of the lips. They set the foundation. Starting from season 5, English was the dominant language because we partnered with Nickelodeon, and then now they are considered a dub and they've got to match the lips, which, you know, is interesting, but I guess they don't seem to mind it. Maybe they do, I don't know, but Iginio went with that. But basically that's how it went in Italy. There is no different voice actors. Like, there might be for minor roles, but pretty much everyone is the same. I think there was a major character from season 3 and season 8 from 2007-ish and 2019, and they got the same voice to come back. So, like, they're very stable with the people. Like, in America and English-speaking countries, it's not so much the same. So, what am I talking about? Let's get into it. Season 1 airs. So why is all of the dubs everywhere? Here is the story as far as I'm aware. So basically, Iginio Straffi, the Italian creator, wanted this to obviously air in English-speaking countries because that's just what you do. And so he goes and reaches out to 4Kids Entertainment, later known as 4 Licensing Corporation. Not sure if he reached out literally or if they found him, but anyways, regardless, they were partnered, and from then on, after signing a contract, they would dub the show. So let's break down what is 4Kids. 4Kids was Formerly known as Leisurely Concepts from 1970 to 1995, then 4Kids Entertainment from 95 to 2012, then 4 Licensing Corporation from 2012 to 2017. Now it is gone. It is closed. It literally says, Fate, Bankruptcy. Michael Scott.
I declare bankruptcy!
So it is a licensing industry. And I am like, okay, what does that mean? This definition says a licensing industry owns rights to certain intellectual property, or IP, while licensee manufactures products using IP granted by the licensor via a license agreement. So I'm just like, are we talking about TV here? Are we talking about TV anymore? What does that mean? That's a lot of big words. I think that, yeah, they mainly did the TV, but also with these TV shows, they had merch, they had toys, they had games. So there's just a lot of media. So they call themselves that. If anyone knows more about this, please feel free to let me know. So 4Kids TV was basically like, you went on the TV Saturday morning, and there was a block of kids shows. It was like Saturday morning cartoons, basically. Only Saturday morning in America. The same thing goes for Australia, United Kingdom, and also Canada. I'm not sure, but at least America, I can confirm the Saturday morning cartoons thing. I think I've heard little bits and pieces of 4Kids Dub airing in the UK and stuff like that, but I'm not so sure if it was back when it was exactly airing in the US at the same time. Was it reruns? Was it, the whole Cartoon Network thing? I don't know. If you know, please feel free to share. Now, 4Kids TV, 4 Licensing Corporation, has since been deceased. They were a huge thing in my generation growing up, especially if you didn't have cable. Saturday morning cartoons, it was all the rage. It was run by the network Fox, and so you turn on Fox Saturday morning. It's a network television channel, so it's like one of the first 10 channels, and you get to watch cartoons on network TV. It's crazy. It would air shows like Ninja Turtles, Winx Club, Pokemon, Kirby, Right Back at Ya. It was also like ABC Kids, which was another thing in America. It was a Saturday morning cartoon block on ABC, and that aired That's So Raven, The Replacements, stuff like that. But 4Kids TV aired on Fox. Starting off, they had the Fox Box from 9/14/2002, which is my brother's literal birthday, like moment he was born, until 2005. Then that turned into 4Kids TV, which ended December 27th, 2008. Merry Christmas. Then there was the CW4Kids, a second block, which started May 24th, 2008, and lasted till 2010. Then it was renamed Toonzai, Toonzai, and that lasted until August 18th, 2012. Alright, so we're about to do a very, very deep rabbit hole right now. Get your popcorn, get your drink, get everything, because there is no other way to summarize what I've done. This is the condensed format, and it's good. Everything is atomically condensed, and if I take out one more detail, you will be unfulfilled in life. So please enjoy this. So starting off, we have the television network, the broadcasting company, Fox. This was founded October 9th, 1986. Which was 36 years ago. It launched that same day. From Fox, we have been blessed with 4Kids TV. But what is the real history of the children's programming blocks on Fox? Let's take a look. The first ever programming block from Fox was known as Fox Kids, and this launches September 8th, 1990. 32 years ago. This aired shows such as Bobby's World, Power Rangers, Animaniacs, Cyber 6, Digimon, Beyblade. It really aired for such a long time. As I mentioned, it launched September 8th, 1990, and it closed September 7th, 2002. So within those years is a lot of room for change. On Wikipedia, the list of shows is written out as in year 1, these shows, year 2, year 3. But I'll just read out different things. I mean, year 1, we've got Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Bobby's World, Fox's Funhouse, Pittsburgh Pigs. This was 1990 to 91. I'll just shout some things out here and there. Year 3, I mean, we've got George of the Jungle, Mighty Mouse, Merry Melodies, starring Bugs Bunny and Friends, Super Dave, Daredevil for Hire. Year 6, we've got Goosebumps, The Masked Rider, Spider-Man, Tasmania, The Fox Cub House, Magic Adventures of Mumfie, and specials, we've got Sailor Moon. That's actually crazy. So Sailor Moon aired on Fox Kids, the precursor to all of this, in 95. I'm gonna play a preview that I found on YouTube of Sailor Moon on Fox Kids.
An evil queen has sent her monstrous legions to unleash their dark forces and take over our world, sending it into total chaos. And only Sailor Moon, Tuxedo Mask, and the Sailor Scouts can save us. The world's newest heroes battle the world's baddest villains.
They're hot, they're cool, they're all new. 17 brand new episodes of Sailor Moon weekdays at 6:30, right here on Fox 29.
Also, if you have any more information on Sailor Moon on any networks in America, just let me know. Talk to me about it. I think it's pretty interesting. And I'm no expert because I was not really in the loop at that time. So Fox Kids was the top-rated children's program block among other major networks since 92. So things were kind of getting heated. Fox Kids had even overtaken ABC's One Saturday Morning block in 97. But then Kids WB a year later had kind of overtaken Fox Kids. And that really was a struggle for Fox Kids, especially with the current struggle already of networks like Nickelodeon and Disney, who had such an aggressive schedule, which really made it difficult for all broadcast networks with their children's blocks. It was just difficult all along. So Fox was kind of behind, and there was no way that the programmers could find a way to catch up and stand out at this point due to not only the people like Nick and Disney who were really ahead, but even the network children's programming blocks like ABC's One Saturday Morning and the Kids WB. So everyone was above Fox Kids, and it was tragic. It was really tragic. So basically, Fox Kids put their block up for bidding, and then the then producers of the English dub of Pokemon, which was 4Kids Entertainment, purchased it. They purchased this remaining 4-hour Saturday time period, and Fox maintained a Saturday morning only schedule until September 7th, 2002, a week before they then gave it to 4Kids. And then the rest is history. As I mentioned, September 14th, 2002, a week later, as my brother was literally born, the Fox Box was born. So Fox Kids, their Fox-owned network, was replaced by the 4Kids Entertainment produced programming block called the Fox Box, which premiered September 14th, 2002. And later, this was rebranded to 4Kids TV on January 22nd, 2005 until December 17th, 2008. So to clear it all up, before it was Fox Kids, produced by Fox, airing on Fox. Then it was the Fox Box, airing on Fox, but produced by 4Kids. And I think that the name, the Fox Box, was just, contract-wise. There might have been some sort of contract where 4Kids Entertainment needed to reach some sort of agreement where the name reflected most of Fox, but I don't know. Then later on, they rebranded to 4Kids TV as the name of the block, which was owned by 4Kids Entertainment. I feel like both companies would want the name of the block to reflect them so that it can be tied with them and they can get the revenue. But I feel like maybe there was a contract where, okay, whoever's doing this only is able to own the name and can change the name whenever they want. So maybe Fox had to give up the name when 4Kids changed it. So 4Kids Entertainment was still fully responsible for the content of the block and collected all of the advertising revenue from it. However, Fox's standards and practices still handled content approval and responsibility of editing all the series to meet FCC and broadcast standards because it was still airing on their TV channel. So how did this whole thing fall apart? On November 10th, 2008, 4Kids Entertainment announced that 4Kids TV would conclude at the end of the year. And this is regarding their Fox programming block, just to confirm, due to intervening conflicts between Fox and 4Kids. Apparently, 4Kids did not pay for their time lease, and they didn't do that for quite a while. So it looks like things got a little messy. It looks like Fox was not able to maintain the 90% guaranteed clearance for the block itself. You know, the block that started with Fox Kids and then was given to 4Kids Entertainment. And then, yeah, they weren't able to guarantee 90% clearance for the block. Apparently, there were a lot of affiliate refusals and an inability to secure secondary affiliates. So that just, I don't even know, that sounds crazy. But anyways, 4Kids TV did end on December 27th, 2008. And Fox announced that the 4-hour time period would no longer be used for children's programming, and they said that it was no longer viable due to the insurmountable competition from children's cable channels such as Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney Channel. And this makes sense. That honestly makes a lot of sense why I would go to Fox and be like, whereas this used to have children's cartoons on it? That seems so strange, but they completely got rid of the children's programming block altogether. It stopped here for everyone. Now this is where things get even crazier. So I had to lay out all of that groundwork just to introduce this. 4Kids Entertainment did not end there. They did not only have their 4Kids TV block on Fox, they also had something known as the CW4Kids. And this starts in such a crazy way, and it goes back so far. So, we're gonna start all the way back with the Warner Bros. Television Network. This is an original TV channel. You know, it aired adult shows, regular boring shows, and yeah, it was founded November 2nd, 1993. It was launched January 11th, 1995. That's my birthday, actually, not the same year. I was born 2001. So this Warner Bros. TV channel launched a children's programming block called the Kids WB on September 9th, 1995. And I mentioned the Kids WB just recently, but the Kids WB, the WB stands for Warner Bros. And it debuted that day with shows like Freakazoid, Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, the Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries. And these shows kept on going, you know, Warner Bros. Stuff like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, you know, all that kind of stuff. So February 13th, 1999, the Kids WB made a breakthrough when they started airing the English Pokemon dub, which was acquired by 4Kids Entertainment. Now, keep in mind, 4Kids Entertainment was its own unique thing. They were literally just making the English Pokemon dub at that moment. As of February 13th, 1999, they didn't own a children's block on Fox. They didn't own anything like that. They just were dubbing Pokemon. I'm assuming that dubbing Pokemon at this point was 4Kids' highest point in their career. You know, they were not affiliated with a TV network with a children's programming block. They weren't locked in, and they didn't own anything, and they weren't having a website with merch. They had none of that. They were basically a loose company. It was basically before the 4Kids that we know and love from Winx, before all of that. So they were just like a loose company at the time. So with this acquisition, the Kids WB was able to beat Fox Kids. And Fox Kids, we know, was the predecessor to 4Kids TV. You see how it's all clicking together? You see? So the Kids WB now had Pokemon with the English dub. It had all of these crazy animated cartoons. That's Warner Bros., Superman, the animated series, Road Rovers, Bugs and Daffy, Waynehead, the Daffy Duck Show. They had so many good shows, and now they have Pokemon. And so people were just loving it, and they beat out Fox Kids. So in July 2011, the Kids WB weekday afternoon lineup was rebranded as Toonami. This lineup extended the Cartoon Network action animated block Toonami to broadcast television. So Cartoon Network shows were involved, and it brought shows such as Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, the Powerpuff Girls to network television. They were airing on the Kids WB, and it was very crazy. And Cartoon Network was interacting with the Kids WB. It was crazy. However, this specific sub-block was critically panned by industry observers. They were not feeling it, because it was like, you guys have things like Scooby-Doo, Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny, Generation O, The Nightmare Room, which is like a live-action series created by the Goosebumps author, and you got Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball and Powerpuff Girls. It's like a lot. Scooby-Doo and Sailor Moon, So this did allow for some cross promo between Cartoon Network and the Kids WB, because they could both be sharing the same show on different networks. That's kind of cool. You don't see that a lot. But most of these only lasted a short period of time, including Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon appearing on Toonami on Kids WB for only 2 weeks. Also, Card Captors appeared on the main Toonami block on Cartoon Network for only 2 weeks. So, in spring 2002, the Kids WB announced that they would drop Toonami from their name from this sub-block, and then once again, Toonami was an exclusive thing to Cartoon Network. Now this is just a little side fact. On September 3rd, 2001, the Kids WB weekday morning block was discontinued. You guys ever catch Nickelodeon on a weekday during the school year? Or even during the summer, I'm not sure, but it'll be playing Nick Jr. I guess that's what's kind of happening here. The WB channel would have like a weekday kids block as well. It wasn't just the weekend at this point. So on May 31st, 2005, the Warner Bros. Announced that the weekday afternoon Kids WB block would be discontinued at the request of local affiliates, and it was a similar situation because it became financially unattractive. Cable networks were just more financially successful, and it was just one of those things. The weekday afternoon Kids WB block aired for the last time on December 30th, 2005, and was replaced on January 2nd, 2006 by Daytime WB, which was a more adult-targeted general entertainment block featuring repeats of sitcoms and drama series formerly seen on the major networks. So the Saturday morning Kids WB lineup that remained was extended by 1 hour on January 7th, 2006, running from 7 a.m. to noon. So it was originally this 4-hour block, now it was 5 hours, and it was no longer affected by time zone differences. So it was still up, but there were no children's shows, and it was rebranded slightly. A couple weeks later, On January 24th, 2006, the Warner Bros. Television Network, which was the owner of the Kids WB, and CBS Corporation owner, which was the owner of the United Paramount Network, or the UPN. Now this channel, I'm not even going to deep dive down because it's a whole other thing, but this basically is, yes, related to Paramount Productions, all of that back in the 1940s. It's a whole network just like that. So basically, Warner Bros. And CBS Corporation together, they decided that they would shut down the WB and UPN networks and merge them into what we now know as the CW. They went with the Warner Bros. Original scheduling practices and brought back the Kids WB block. So basically, to my knowledge, if I'm correct, that general entertainment block didn't last for long. It basically went right to the new CW network, and then right from there, we picked up with the old Kids WB, the regular scheduled programming that was running on the Kids WB. We brought that back for the CW Kids block. Now the UPN, just a little history because it is kind of connected. It had not aired any children's programming since the Disney's 1-2 network discontinued in August of 2003. The Disney's 1-2 network was basically a rival to a similar network called Disney's One Saturday Morning, which aired on ABC. And then Disney's One Saturday Morning later became rebranded as ABC Kids. Oh my gosh, it's all connected. And I'd say ABC Kids is nostalgic for me, like maybe even a little bit more than 4Kids TV. So yeah, it's got a special place in my heart. I want to play a little clip.
You want Raven? Let me hear you scream! I gotta go see this! Yeah, raise the roof with That's So Raven, Saturdays on ABC Kids.
It was this crazy whole thing where in between every show, it just felt like you were actually there in this huge stadium. All the little clips in between each show and all the commercials were like this 3D animated stadium, and it was just crazy. It was crazy. And it ended August 2011, so it lasted a while, and yeah, I think that's why I remember it more. So on October 2nd, 2007, Warner Bros. And CBS, they announced that the Kids WB programming block on their co-owned network, the CW, would end in 2008. Again, due to the same reasons of their inability to compete with cable networks and such. So this 5-hour Saturday morning programming block was basically up for grabs, and as it was introduced to 4Kids Entertainment, they bought it. The Kids WB block aired for the final time on May 17th, 2008, and for some stations who ran on a day behind basis, they ran it on May 18th, 2008. So on May 24th, 2008, 4Kids launched the CW4Kids in place of the Kids WB. Now this created a 4-year agreement between the CW and 4Kids Entertainment. The lineup for this block consisted of shows from 4Kids TV's existing block on Fox, as well as some acquired shows from Kids WB, as well as quite possibly some just brand new shows. I'm not sure, maybe they were just, just added to the mix right here and only here. Now these acquired shows from the Kids WB that then aired on the CW4Kids are known as Will and DeWitt, Maggie Nation, Skunk Fu, Tom and Jerry Tales, The Spectacular Spider-Man, World Quest, Johnny Test, Eon Kid, The Batman, Kamen Rider, Dragon Knight, Huntic, Secrets and Seekers, and Rollbots. These were all acquired from Kids WB. As for the media brought from 4Kids TV, we have Chaotic, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Viva Pinata, Dinosaur King, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, Go Go Riki, Sonic X, Kirby Right Back At Ya, Winx Club, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magical Do Re Mi, and Cubix Robots for Everyone. Those were all from 4Kids TV. Now, Winx Club on this block aired from July 18th, 2009 to July 17th, 2010. So that's kind of crazy that it actually was stretched out this far. But these were only reruns. Now, it doesn't even end there. The CW4Kids was rebranded to Toonzai on August 7th, 2010. That's spelled Toonzai. Now, I'm not sure why. I think it might have just been a rebrand, but the name is a little play on the word toon from cartoon and the Japanese term bonsai, which reflected a majority of the anime programming on the block. Now, Toonzai had a lot of the same old programming from the CW4Kids. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh!, Cubix, Sonic X, Teenage Ninja Turtles, Dinosaur King, but it acquired Dragon Ball Z Kai and Maggie Nation. And Toonzai ended August 18th, 2012. Now, this happened because on June 26th, 2012, it had been almost 4 years since this whole 4Kids acquirement of the contract, their time was almost coming up. So, Kidsco Media Ventures, an affiliate of Saban Capital Group, finalized a bid to acquire 4Kids' agreement with the CW for the block. So on July 2nd, 2012, it was announced that Saban Brands would begin programming on the block, and this would be relaunched and rebranded as Vortexx, Vortexx. Now, Vortexx started up August 25th, 2012, and closed September 27th, 2014. It had a lot of former programming from Toonzai, the CW4Kids, WB Kids even, but it looks like we've even got things like Rescue Heroes, Iron Man Armed Adventures, Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, WWE Saturday Morning Slam, Transformers Prime, Damon Crossfire. It's worth mentioning that Vortexx specifically seems to clearly cover a male young boy demographic. I just look at all the images and I don't even see a hint, a sparkle, a sprinkle of like any Winx, Barbie, anything like that. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying like that's interesting that they decided to change that, because maybe they're thinking like, okay, if we saturate it with just all male instead of all general kids, maybe we can get a lot more viewership, something like that. I thought I had hit a dead end with the research, but then I searched one more time. So after Vortexx ended in 2014, I searched, what happened, and it looks like it was replaced with a programming block called One Magnificent Morning on the CW, and this is a Saturday morning block launched October 4th, 2014. The current programming, it's basically like wild nature type shows, I assume, from just reading these titles, and it's live action type shows. Former programming, we've got Dog Whisperer, Family Edition, The Brady Bar Experience, The Reluctantly Healthy, Expedition Wild, Dogtown USA, Hatched, Save Our Shelter, Dinner Spinner, Did I Mention Invention? The Jewels of the Natural World, Tales of Valor, and current programming is Jack Hanna Into the Wild, The Open Road with Dr. Chris, and Ready, Set, Pet. The age demographic for this block is targeted towards teenagers and their parents. The original runtime for this block was like it was originally, 7 to 12, but that was only from 2014 to 2017. Then it was shortened to 3 hours from 8 to 11, and that was from 2017 to the present. But as far as I can tell, this is where we are. Those current programming shows are the shows that air during those 3 hours. Like, I just checked my TV guide for my upcoming Saturday, and it says, like, that's what's gonna happen. It's crazy. That's where we are with the CW. It still exists, and it's insane to think that that began from the Warner Bros. Network, and it's insane to think that Winx Club and Sailor Moon ever aired on it. Now, I want to go back to censorship in 4Kids TV and Winx Club and discuss all of that, and kind of discuss how Fox and 4Kids Entertainment and all of that is involved. With network television alone comes a lot of rules and regulations that most people aren't really aware of. And that's actually why a lot of issues come up with 4Kids TV shows that were dubbed in English on this cartoon block, and why people complain about censorship and plot changes and animation changes. And not only was sometimes the, animation and plot revised for ease of understanding, most, if not 95% of the time, it was for the sake of the network itself, because there simply were so many rules and regulations on what could bypass network television. In a 2019 Fan Expo in Canada, Eric Stewart, the voice of James and Brock in 4Kids Pokemon in production, explained censorship wouldn't allow the same scenes on American TV. 4Kids would send the scripts and footage to Fox, and then they would critique it, changing everything to be appropriate and non-religious. So 4Kids would do all the work, the voicing, the dubbing, to everything, and then Fox, their boss, would then come in and do some more stuff. It's like there's keeps being these molds that we keep having to fit. And that's certainly one reason why they had to do it. And he continued, Pokemon wouldn't be as popular today if it weren't for 4Kids. That's certainly true. And that's the same for Winx. And they wanted everything to be relatable to the kids watching.
Holiday Hijinks was actually taken out of physical release. However, in Japan, it actually recolored Jinx to make it look less questionable. So if the Japanese can carry these edits, why can't North America have these edits?
So even with those edits, that character is inappropriate for America. There's a lot of things that don't cross over culturally. The Japanese didn't have the same sensitivities that we did in our country. And also, just to touch on the broadcast standards and practices of the networks, we have rules in America on Saturday mornings between the hours of 6 and 12, and they're dictated by the network, not by the production company. So we would submit every show, every script, and they would review it within their network and say, cut that out, take that out, change that cigarette to a lollipop, do whatever you need to do in order to pass the standards.
I mean, network television is the foundation of the television itself. It's like when you turn on the TV, yes, you can have the Roku, the cables, the everything, but the pure basis of the TV was the network television. So it's just, there's so many layers to that. That's the causation of so much censorship in Winx, is it being aired on a network block.
In order to pass the standards. So where everybody's like, oh, you guys did this, you guys did that. But the other thing is, by being able to be on network television, you have things like this. Pokemon went from being in the back of the video store, or anime being some sort of weird thing, to the most popular pop culture kind of thing, fandom, right? Comic-Cons and things like that. So making those changes so that they were accessible to kids who don't need to be exposed to things that might be inappropriate at that age also made it the norm instead of some sort of cult thing. And that's pretty much what that's all about. So yes, certain things can be edited, but that character is not appropriate for an American audience.
And unfortunately, Iginio Straffi found this out a little bit later and did not actually enjoy it, but I don't think he was able to cease this contract right away. So what did he do? He signed another contract to do another English dub. Now this dub was called the Cinelume dub, also known as Rai English. Now this dub never formally aired in the United States in the 2000s. I've heard news articles and seen trivia in the Winx Wiki that in certain periods from 2016 to 17 or 2018, it aired on a children's programming block called Kids Click, but I tried to find out where that was airing. I could not find that at the time. I know that seasons 1 and 2 of this dub aired on Netflix United States, but other than that, this dub is very scarce, yet everywhere at the same time. As far as I'm aware, this dub aired in Singapore, and I think I recall something about Australia and season 4 of this dub being aired there, but I'm not too sure about that. But regardless, this dub was very different from 4Kids because yes, it was English, but there was a whole different cast, and it was a direct translation of the Italian dub. It was basically what you would expect, you know. Oh, I don't want to listen to it in Italian, I want to understand it, so I'll listen to it in English. There you go. It is the same music, it is an exact translation of the Italian script. It is basically your classic redub. You know, 4Kids was pretty unique, with the different music, different edits and stuff. This, not so much. It was pretty standard, original, faithful to the plot. So there's actually a little similarity and possible misconception. So some people call this Rai English. Rai English and Cinelume mean the exact same dub. It's the same thing. And Rai English is just kind of a nickname because I think it comes from Rai, meaning a shorter version of the word rainbow, which is the name of the Italian company who makes Winx Club. But according to this, Rai, stylized, capital R, lowercase ai, is Radio Televisione Italiana, and they did not make it. It is the National Public Broadcasting Company of Italy, and it is owned by the Ministry of Economy and Finance. It's actually pretty interesting how similar their logos look, because you would think they're very similar, but maybe it's because of the media. Maybe they do overlap in some areas. However, Radio Televisione Italiana, the RAI for this one is not short for rainbow, but Rai English, that is short for rainbow. So the Winx Club wiki, I think where I got this, is saying that this is a misconception. I think people were not misconceiving that. Personally, I think people just created that term because, I mean, it's Rai and it's English. Like, that term was just created because it is what it is. That term kind of found itself. So I don't think that they were confusing it with this, but I do think that's a pretty cool catch. After coming back to this later, I recall that the Italian TV channel, which aired the Italian dub in Italy, is called Rai 2, and since Rai English, or Cinelume, was the direct translation of that Italian dub, maybe that's why they called it Rai English, because it was like the Rai version, but English, like the exact version. I don't know, that seems a little bit too far-fetched, like, just kind of like, I don't know. But also just, it kind of fits better with the whole thing. This seems like it would fit in more likely than Radio Televisione Italiana, if you know what I'm saying. While 4Kids, that was very different. It had different music, it had a different flow, a different pace. Basically, the whole show was like reconstructed from the ground up. And now in some of my teenage years, I kind of looked at that with confusion, as in, wow, that seems like a lot of work. They really made custom soundtracks, custom reprises, custom themes for such unique moments in the show. They really built the show from the ground up, you know, reanimating the most minuscule things. Why? Why put so much effort into it? Why not take what you already have? Why not use the music, the animation, that you already have. But from an interview with Eric Stewart, where I've also gotten the previous information, who voiced James from Team Rocket and Pokemon on 4Kids, and he also worked with 4Kids Entertainment back in the day. This is a live Q&A that I'm citing. He said that he was working on both sides of the recording booth at times, so he knows a bit about it. And while a fan asked a question about Pokemon and why sometimes they would use the original music and sometimes the 4Kids music, we can apply this to Winx Club. Basically, when a show is being bought and is reformatted, the voice actors are changed, the visuals are kept, but, you know, if they want to keep the music, background music, songs, lyrics, there could still be licensing and royalties, residuals on the music. So actually, in most cases, 4Kids TV found it a better decision to remake all of the soundtrack from scratch so that they can just use that music wherever they want and not have to worry about, you know, selling royalties, whether they want to post a trailer or not. You know, it's all theirs down to the music except for the visuals. But obviously that's all within the contract that Iginio obviously visually signed. Maybe, you know, I'm not hating, but maybe he didn't look at it close enough. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not threatening legal action. I'm just saying.
Having been involved in the production side, you were the producer and director. Why do the later movies, or at least the ones you were involved with, have the Japanese music intact while the vast majority of episodes have a lot of the Japanese music replaced?
Good question. So it's all about licensing. So for those of you who don't know, I directed Yu-Gi-Oh! I directed some Pokemon. I directed a Pokemon movie here and there, and so I was on both sides of the glass for many, many years. And one of the reasons is when they purchase the licensing of a show, right, and they reformat it, when they license it to different countries, the voices are being replaced, right? But if the music is not being replaced, then you're making residuals on that end of it. So what 4Kids decided was, hey, we'll redo the music so that when it's airing in Canada or it's airing in, you know, France or Germany or whatever, and they're replacing the actors, us, with their local actors, they're still making the money on the licensing of the music. So it's all about that, which makes a lot of sense. Now, in some of the films, there might have been a deal with the Japanese company. You can't change, you remove that song or whatever, but a lot of the movies, even the closing credits, we might have used their music, but we rewrote the lyrics, and so they own the publishing on that end of it, so it was all about that. So, or they bought the rights to it and then made money on that as well, so it's all about the money.
Another option that they could do, 4Kids TV could have purchased temporary or just permanent ownership of the original music so that every time they used it or aired it, they wouldn't have to, you know, pay for usage of the music. It would just be owned right then and there. But they went with what they went with. And I think it's really cool that we have multiple versions of the same thing. Multiple songs, multiple this, multiple that. It's all very different, but also the same thing. It's giving very much alternate universe vibes, you know. And then to just kind of give you guys a brief overview into the entirety of the series after introducing these two dubs. So each of these dubs lasts at least 3 seasons. However, the 4Kids TV's contract ended after the 3rd season. So their season 3 was, you know, premiered, teased as the series finale, even though it wasn't.
4Kids TV is counting down the final, all-new episodes of the Winx Club. It's the moment you've been waiting for, the Winx series finale. Don't miss an all-new episode next week at 8.
In reality, in Europe, what was happening was a full-on movie was happening in 2007, which was the very cherry on top finale piece of this main story of Winx Club. And it's unfortunate that the 4Kids community never got to see it. It is unfortunate. It actually is, though. So that never happened. And then after this movie aired in 2007, in 2009, season 4 airs. And you know, this airs in Italy, of course. And as I mentioned, I'm not 100% confident, but I believe that in Australia, the Rai English Dub of Season 4 was airing. So Season 4 wraps up. There's a second feature film that goes on, all in Europe. I mean, in America, if you didn't go on the internet to check it and you were relying on freaking Saturday morning cartoons, girl, you were getting reruns since 2007. And it was tragic. Everything was kind of chill. Again, I'll go over this in way more detail in just a few moments, but I'm just kind of laying it out. Of course, in 2010, Nickelodeon made a deal with Rainbow. They made a deal to continue making new Winx seasons together, and this deal did not only mean making season 5 and 6, which they did make and dub with a brand new dub, a third Nick dub, which is English, but this Nick dub went back and turned seasons 1 and 2 into 4 summary specials. Season 1 got 3 of those specials, and season 2 got 1 of those specials. Then Nickelodeon redubbed season 3, and they aired that on Nickelodeon. They redubbed the first movie, they aired that, and then they redubbed season 4, they aired that on Nickelodeon. They redubbed the second movie, and they aired that at a weird random time in May 2013, in the middle of season 5, so I'm not sure what that was about, but that second movie never made sense anyway, so I understand what that was about. And that movie was cut to be a 45-minute special, according to Nick's rendition of it. The original second film is like an hour and a half. And they just kind of rolled out the cartoon and tried to slowly introduce us to catch us up to the series with the redubbed series. And although the first 2 seasons of it were kind of rushed, I mean, they weren't full-on redubbed. They were like summarized TV movies. It was interesting because we got new voices, which were great voices, and those 4 specials were beautiful animation. I thought it was just stunning, and it was kind of a tease for what we would get for season 5 and 6, and yeah. But after season 6, which was all fine and dandy, Rainbow did not continue to use Nickelodeon USA's dubbing studio for the English dub, which was unfortunate because those voices were very established. I mean, basically 6 seasons worth. I mean, they were now the English dub with the most continuity into the series thus far, and it was a little upsetting, but I think it was money issues. So season 7 comes along in 2015, and we get another English dub called Do Art. And then, after that season wraps up, we get a little hiatus between the next season, and in between that time, we have a spin-off called World of Winx, of which the same Do Art dubbing company dubs, and it's a Netflix spin-off. It's beautiful, it's amazing, iconic, it's really, you know, if anyone's looking for more Winx action compared to season 7, I mean, maybe even season 6, I think you really should watch World of Winx if you haven't. And then, in 2018, we get season 8 with another dubbing company. And this dubbing company is called 3 Beep. And it's really, there's not much to say. I'll say it much more in depth once those dubs and seasons are introduced on the podcast for real. However, I just kind of wanted to lay out the foundation and kind of walk you guys through the blueprint a little bit. It's crazy. It was so crazy. But I got to admit, the voices are good. You know, I'm happy with what we got. And as far as I'm aware, they should be returning for season 9, which is still to be aired as of November 2nd, 2022, which is when I'm recording this. The video part of this podcast is filmed from February, but just letting you know. Pretty much everyone from the Cinelume dub, or at least a bunch of cast members, are in Arthur. Bloom, Stella, Flora, Icy, Darcy, Tekna from season 2, Ogron, Dumon, possibly Mistress Farragonda, definitely Griselda, are all in Arthur. And it's hilarious. Especially, I mean, Francine is the voice of Tekna. It's the same voice, basically. A little different, but it's basically the same. So, Nickelodeon comes along. Headquarters, New York, New York, USA. Animation headquarters is in Burbank, California, USA. And the specific studio that they used for this dub is called Atlas Oceanic Sound and Picture, located at 111 North Buena Vista Street in Burbank, California, zip code 91505. I'm laughing because 111 is my birthday number. Nickelodeon is sister company to Rainbow SRL via their parent company, now known as Viacom CBS. So in 2010, Nick Animation Studio announced it would co-develop 4 1-hour, with commercials, summary specials based on Winx Club, as well as new seasons. Since 2010, episodes have been written with Nickelodeon's United States team. I don't think I mentioned this, but a pretty important factor to consider is that Winx Club had been gone from American kids' eyes since 4Kids left the scene since 2008. With this new deal in mind, it was good, and now it was coming back to America. So this was a whole huge big deal in terms of that. Series creator Iginio directed writers to make the show multicultural. Interesting. In a 2019 interview, Iginio said, "The know-how of Rainbow and the know-how of Nickelodeon are very complementary." He said it was like the sensibilities of the Americans with our European touch. And this later down the road led to the creation of their newest show, Club 57, which is pretty cool. It's like real people, it's not a cartoon. And I should watch it because just because, the people who made Winx made it, I should give it a chance, you know? It's kind of like the same creators make the same stuff. I like The Office, I like The Good Place, I like Parks and Rec. Yeah. So Viacom, which was just Viacom at the time, co-owned Rainbow Studio in February 2011. They planned to buy the entire company, but agreed with only buying 30% for 62 million euros. So basically the show already existed by this time. Like I said, 4Kids, their time had already closed by the time Nickelodeon came around. So seasons 1 through 4 were already completed and done. 2 full movies were already completed and done. I think Pop Pixie was also already completed and done. There were these 4 summary specials which were going to be released to summarize the events of seasons 1 and 2. 3 of them for season 1 and 1 of them for season 2. And they said it was more like an all-new Winx Club and a fresh take on the property, rather than a direct continuation. And I get that. It definitely is. It also, I feel the continuation. I see the continuity. They redubbed it, they did the specials, season 3, season 4, season 5. I feel the flow, still. Even though there's new graphics, even though there's a slightly new vibe, it makes sense to me. If they didn't go for what they call a fresh new take, what would they have gone for? Completely the same style of animation? Hand-drawn animation? I feel like at some point they definitely would have upscaled to 16:9, 1080p HD. What would have changed? What wouldn't have changed? Is the question. I think that they would have gone HD. They would have gone widescreen. But I guess they wouldn't have gone for the flash animation, perhaps? And they probably wouldn't have gone for the lesser toned down stories. I'm gonna touch on that in a bit. Because, let me get to this little bit, Nickelodeon is not the problem. Nick was not the problem. According to this quote, starting with season 5, Iginio changed the show's demographic to a younger audience. Not starting with season 8. It was not Nickelodeon who backseat drove them. It was Iginio. He was like, yeah, here's the show, we're gonna work together, but I want to take it in a different direction. So I guess they did that. So according to a 2019 interview, Iginio says, nowadays, it's very difficult to get a 10-year-old to watch cartoons. They all go for live action. When you're new, in brackets new, target audience is 4 to 8, Your story cannot have the same level of complexity as the beginning seasons of Winx. Fans of the old Winx Club say on social media that the new seasons are childish, but they don't know that we had to do that. So production was divided, and it was different for Nickelodeon. They say it's not our usual practice to co-produce cartoons. We make them by ourselves usually. But we strongly believe in Winx. So the source of that quote goes all the way back to a daily Italian newspaper called the Corriere della Sera. And this is a daily Italian newspaper in Milan, Italy. And Nickelodeon's acquisition of Winx Club was featured in the newspaper. And yes, it does say a lot about Winx coming to America and everything. It even mentions how Iginio was not a fan of the Winx's broadcast on Fox 4Kids TV. He was like, I did not like that. I shut that down ASAP. But he says he felt like they didn't even really air there. He felt like that wasn't even really their debut. And the Nickelodeon quote says, "For 31 years, we have been the #1 network for children. It is not our custom to co-produce cartoons. We make them by ourselves. But we really believe in Winx." And for Strophy, no one is afraid that his fairies become a little less Italian. The responsibility will remain ours, he assures us. Girl, I don't know if that's a question or an answer or what's going on, but that's tea, actually. That's funny.
That's tea, actually.
Oh, guys, do you remember Believe in Winx, the YouTube channel, and Believe in Winx TV? They stopped posting around Mystery of the Abyss and Mythics, and I really miss them. I love Believe in Winx, and I hope they come back. So, miss you, person. I love you. Come back, please. I believe in you. Believe in Winx TV. Actually, you kind of spoiled a lot of stuff. No, I'm just kidding. So, Viacom assembled a writing team with Nick's longtime staff members, Janice Burgess and Sasha Palladino. Can you imagine being in that room? Can you imagine all the scripts, all the rewrites, everything that was scrapped, all the writers collectively of whatever was in 4Kids dimension, whatever was translated in the Cinelume universe, whatever Iginio has going on in his mind. Can you imagine just compiling that and reading that? That is the Legendarium world. And I am about ready to get my Mythics powers. In a good way. In a good Legendarium world. No, Iginio's not Acheron. I'm sorry. Okay, moving on. Introducing Elisa Rosselli of Rainbow, who is not super new. She had been there since Secret of the Lost Kingdom, who worked with Nickelodeon's Peter Zizzo to write and produce most music here. I assume that means they started with the TV movie album. It's so beautiful. When I was taking these notes, they got one person from each side and they worked together. That's so beautiful. It's literally teamwork, everybody do your hair. But it's adults being mature, grown adults and creating this beautiful masterpiece. Like, it's amazing. So Viacom selected many of Nickelodeon's biggest stars to voice the characters for this new 2011 Nick dub. From Victorious, we've got Ariana Grande playing Diaspro, Liz Gillies playing Daphne, and Daniela Monet playing Mitzi. Then, from True Jackson VP, we have Matt Shively playing Sky, and Kiki Palmer playing Aisha. Y'all. And everyone else who is not from Nickelodeon is a very, very successful voice actor. Very powerful, very talented. Also, Larissa Olneyik voices Icy, who used to be on 10 Things I Hate About You. Is that what it's called? She was like a former Nickelodeon star, I think. And she came back to voice Icy. And her voice, she had to do a change in register. Like, it's powerful. It's a good voice. And her delivery with that high voice is so, like, effortless and, like, seriously, nut attack. Like, it's so good. Kimberly Brooks playing Stormy, Morgan Decker playing Tekna. I can't believe she doesn't do any other voice acting, at least to my knowledge. Girl, you have the best voice. And I mean, all of the Winx. Molly C. Quinn from Castle, Amy Gross, who plays Nina Cortex on Crash Bandicoot, Twinsanity, Crash Bandicoot, a bunch of the games. I'm a Crash Bandicoot stan. I have Aku Aku cut out right there and a Crash swimming stuffed animal right there. And then Romy Dames playing Musa. Iconic. So some dates for you. June 27th, 2011. I swear this is a Mandela effect. I swear Special 1 aired in November or September, but that day, Special 1 airs in the USA. August 1st, Special 2. September 18th, Special 3. And October 16th, Special 4. Special 4 summarizes Season 2. From November 14th to December 26th, we've got Season 3 of this Nick dub airing. Then, March 11th, 2012, we've got The Secret of the Lost Kingdom, the entire hour-and-a-half movie. They redubbed it. It's beautiful. It's in HD. Not on the DVDs, but on Nickelodeon. It probably was in HD. May 6th, 2012 to July 29th, Season 4 airs. September 2nd to September 22nd, 2013, the next year, Season 5 airs. And in between that time period, Magical Adventure aired May 20th, 2013. Now, Nickelodeon did cut out half of Magical Adventure, and Magical Adventure was also they probably pulled the 4Kids and were like, okay, well, this plot is kind of crazy to begin with, but no offense, Magical Adventure writers, you guys didn't know what was gonna happen in Season 4 when you were tasked with writing it. It's no one's fault. It's no one's fault. It's all actually really awesome. So they cut it in half, but that's fine. So, September 29th, 2013, Season 6 airs. Now, this is where it gets insane and kind of crumbles to the end. So let's discuss the rollout of Season 6, episode by episode. So, it kind of was stable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Episode 8 aired February 16th, 2014. Episodes 9 through 16 dropped on online streaming. Okay. On May 17th, 2014. In the USA. Okay. That's weird. Now, these next episodes have different days with which they are released on various platforms. Episode 17 was released January 19th, 2015 on online streaming. 2015 January, following May 2014. What? 2 days later, episode 18, January 21st, 2015. January 23rd, episode 19. March 31st, episode 20. All online streaming, all 2015. Strange, right? Then, episodes 21 through 26. September 17th, 2015. Nick Jr. Episode 21 airs. Episode 22. November 8th, Nick Jr. These are all gonna be Nick Jr. November 8th, the same day, episode 23. November 15th, releases episodes 24 and 25 on Nick Jr., and November 22nd releases episode 26. So the season premiere is September 29th, 2013, and the season finale is November 22nd, 2015 on the children's version of the network. It's a mess. It's airing over 2 years later. What in the heck is going on? So really, at the end there, it kind of fell apart. And ever since, I think, 2013, I don't really crystal clear remember, but I think the ratings or something was going on. They would get set to very poor air times with just the worst air times for good cartoons. Not right after school, not Saturday morning vibes, like Sundays and all that weird energy where no one's gonna want to watch TV. Several weeks in a row, I would go to watch Winx at Sunday at 1. Oh, which is just the worst time for a kid to watch a cartoon. And it was a rerun every time. I was like, are you kidding me? I don't want to see season 6, episode 1 time after time after time. It was really crazy. That kept happening. So that happened. Yeah, I don't know why. It was really stable with season 3, 4, like all of the series. And I don't know what happened. But Italy seems to be thriving still. So Europe, it's still thriving. Like, it is. It really is. I don't know why we went from, like, weekdays after school to Sunday at 1 every week. Like, do you know how bad it felt for me to turn on the TV at Sunday at 1? I don't know why, but for me, when I was in elementary, middle school, I would get, like, the Sunday blues. And that was the last thing I wanted, was to associate Winx nostalgia with Sunday blues. Like, ugh. One thing I think is worth mentioning is, number one, we have the declining demographic of children that are starting to stop watching TV. I mean, look at Sam and Cat, look at that. iCarly, Victorious, the whole legacy of shows kind of came to an end, not only because of other issues, but because of just the whole demographic shift. Technology was enhancing, and kids no longer needed to rely on cartoons for entertainment. Now kids could have their phones and games and tablets and toys and so many other things. So really, the pre-programmed TV with which they could, wait to a certain time to watch the TV, and their favorite show might not even be on that night, like, that seems like a lot more work rather than like, okay, I could just play Temple Run at any point on my iPod Touch, So, what I have noticed is a lot of shows around that time, 2013, Sam and Cat, iCarly did this even, Victorious with the slap.com, Winx Club, they would promote a lot of online content. Their website, the Winx website, was now beginning to pop off. It was blowing up. It was taken way seriously. It was not any longer a 2000s cybercore, Y2K core nostalgia trip. It was a literal modern professional website where that was like the main vibe, the main zone. And also Nickelodeon.com, the Winx area of that. All of that was where they wanted you to end up going. Because if they figure that kids are already on the internet, they want kids to go to their show-related thing on the internet or on their phones. That's why the release of so many mobile games happened, so that maybe they could, buy and support all the things and then maybe also invest themselves with the show. I don't know. That's why I believe the English versions of these episodes aired on nick.com with an exclusive code given via the TV or via something, certain commercials, and then you would go online and enter the code, and it was a somewhat better monetary experience rather than just letting the show pass away completely. Now this all starts in season 6 episode 9, and trivia in that episode on the Winx wiki mentions this episode aired in the United States as part of the online Magic Marathon, which is just insane to me. Like, they just decided for the next, 7 episodes, we're gonna do a huge online marathon. I don't know, it just seems ridiculous. Then conclude the marathon, and then have Nick Jr. pick it up, and then have the rest of the season air very slowly. It seems very strange and just not well done. We see this with other things too. I mean, have you guys seen the secret gift videos that Winx Club posts on their YouTube channel or on their website as well? It's like you find the code somewhere and you enter it. I mean, I've just seen them because so many of them have been quote unquote unlocked at this point. I mean, they're everywhere. So it's not really a gift anymore. I believe those are some of the reasons why so much of the online content was pushed, because of the insurmountable technology advances that were just happening. I mean, what, you're gonna blame Steve Jobs for making the iPhone, for then enhancing technology thus far in life, and then kind of like taking kids away from the TV, and then kind of like making the child demographic smaller and smaller and smaller. Like, it really is bigger and bolder than saying Nick ruined Winx. It's so much different than that. TV was changed forever in the early 2010s because of technology. And Nick partnered with Iginio to take Winx wherever Iginio had planned to take Winx. But Nick was also dealing with these struggles on its shows already. It was just a little bit more financially prepared to handle the rebound of all that. But anyways, let's just continue on. Winx Club. In 2011, when Nickelodeon came in, they aired the specials. Then they aired Season 3, Movie 1, Season 4, Season 5, Movie 2, Season 6, and Season 7. But Season 7 in America, it's a little different. When Season 7 aired in America, it really aired like months after it aired in Italy, like 9 months. Like, to me at that point in time, it felt like eternity. Like, it was like, okay, well, the hype is everything's basically over by now, so it's basically the equivalent of reruns. Is this even airing in America? It kept getting real expensive for them to keep using the Atlas Oceanic sound and picture dubbing studio and voice actors. So with these really talented voices and the studio and the Nick USA equipment and everything, they just couldn't do that anymore. Basically, this is the end of the Nick dub. Kind of goes into what we just casually call the Duart and 3-beep dubs. Duart starting Season 7 and 3-beep starting Season 8. But to set the record straight, although this was a set of different voices, Winx Club Season 7 does air in America on Nick Jr., and it aired from January 10th, 2016, and the final episode premiered April 10th, 2016. If I'm correct, I had my only snow day in 9th grade around like April 4th, 2016, and that was one of the mildest winters I ever had. It was so weird. I was a freshman in high school, and if I had known that Winx Club was literally airing, I would have been watching it. I didn't even care if it was Season 7. I didn't care if it was Nick Jr. I would have watched it if I had known that it was right there on my TV. But unfortunately, I had no idea. Starting with Season 8, the American team, who is still, they're still co-producing behind the scenes. They're still 30% locked in. The American team was busy with Club 57, so they mostly consulted rather than fully overseeing the production of Winx Club. And with this expensive price to keep using Atlas Oceanic, they did what they had to do to keep the show going. It's not so, over-invasive. So I feel like, really, they're co-producing, and then also Nick owns 30% of Rainbow, and they're just mainly overseeing, and they're not able to afford the Atlas Oceanic dubbing studio, so they went with a cheaper studio. It's really all these little decisions. It's not so much like Nickelodeon is a micromanager and big decisions. It's tons of little random details. So, I've got some random Nickelodeon fun facts here. In 2007, the Winx Power Show was performed at Nickelodeon Europe's KCAs. What? I don't even remember writing that. Okay, that's awesome. Was it in English? I don't think so, but that would be cool. I hope so. In the UK, Winx is Nick UK's highest rated and most popular show. It increased Nick's ratings 58% on the launch weekend in September 2011 as the second most popular program on the entire network. That's crazy. Basically, Winx Club is to Rainbow as SpongeBob is to Nick USA. And so, Winx Club being Nick UK's most popular show, I believe that. That's crazy. As of 2019, it was one of 2 animated shows airing multiple times a day because of its high rating. Starting in 2011, Nick invested $100 million in advertising for Winx Club and released Winx merch worldwide. We're talking Nick USA. So, Nick named Jax Pacific the show's primary merch partner in 2012. Oh yes, oh yes. That's that beautiful Bloom Believix doll you see right there. This one. I've also got Stella Harmonix, Stella Believix up there. This is China exclusive Bloom Lovix, I believe, and that is Musa Witty Toys Butterflix with the Jax new face. Jax Pacific dolls, they're so good. I mean, come on. Have you seen, no offense, but have you seen the difference between the Jax Pacific and Witty Toys Bloomix dolls? I mean, the difference is incredible. But I mean, I feel like there's so much detail in the dolls. Like, there's so much detail. And the faces. Not this face. No, I'm kidding. I love you, Season 8. We'll get to you soon. I'm just joking. I'm teasing you because I love you. Okay. The faces, like, look like the show. Like, identical. At Comic-Cons, they would release, like, all kinds of dolls. Like, blue, gold, silver, Believix Bloom, blue Harmonix Bloom, pink Enchantix Bloom. Like, what does that mean? There was Believix Power dolls with the different colors based on, like, their hair color was their entire body color, except for Flora and Aisha were, like, pink and teal. They even did, like, the Trix Dark Sirenix. They were gonna use real tentacles instead of fake butterfly wings, because apparently they were supposed to be marketed as fairies, even though they're obviously witches. Did the market even know that they were witches, not fairies? That's why their eyebrows are angry? I mean, I'm all for Icy's redemption, but I mean, come on. And it's not just that, like, I think they started with Charmix, what they called Charmix dolls, which was really the Magic Winx transformation doll on such a face. I guess I should get her out to show you. She's wearing Gabriella Isley's outfit from Rainbow High. They started out, I think, with Charmix, which was really Magic Winx, and they really went on all the way until, you know, season 6, I believe. They really did so much. We can get into the dolls at another time, but actually, the dolls used to be so different in Italy. There's so many different face molds, and when Iginio saw Jax Pacific dolls' faces, he actually was like, oh my gosh, I love this. I want this for Witty Toys. And now, Witty Toys has now changed their faces to match Jax Pacific, if I'm correct. But yes, that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much where the 3 first dubs leave us off at. All you Winxers already know most of this information, right? I mean, Winx Club has 8 seasons, 3 movies, 4 45-minute specials, 2 spin-off series, 1 live-action series. They've got power shows, Winx on Ice. They've got comics. They've got so many exclusive dolls, toys, games, books, like physical books. They've got DVDs. It's endless. The media. They've got plot lines that run in the comics that kind of explain plot holes in the show. It's so good. And I have to mention season 8. So season 8 did not air in America at all. It was released in Italy. The first 2 episodes premiered at the International Rome Film Festival on October 20th, 2018 to celebrate the Winx's 15th anniversary. It premiered on April 15th, 2019, and the finale of season 8 in Italy was September 17th, 2019. But Nickelodeon did not air in America at all and has not. Not even a Nick Jr. extravaganza. I have no idea about Nick UK, Nick Australia, anywhere else, but I can say for sure United States did not happen. The Winx Club wiki for the season 8 article mentions that English episodes started airing on Nickelodeon Asia on January 18th, 2020. Now this makes a lot of sense because as a Steven Universe fan and Miraculous Ladybug fan, in the past, a lot of foreign countries, I remember Asia specifically, they would always have English as a second available language to listen to. I don't know how that works. I wonder if it's just like subtitles, you can just listen to it like that. Like you can just switch the language as you please. There's a setting, or maybe there are certain parts of the country or certain regions where you're only gonna ever listen to the English version. Yeah, it's something like that, where they get access to it, and then it gets recorded, and it goes up online, it's on Dailymotion, all that yada yada yada. It also mentions that Season 8 became available on Netflix in Australia April 14th, 2020, and the UK, Ireland, and New Zealand on April 15th, 2020. So in February 2022, and that was when I filmed the video portion of this podcast, the episodes were released on Prime Video in the US and Canada. And that sums up the dubs pretty much. Wow. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching and tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I did a little bit more research than I originally intended to, but I'm glad. I'm glad because I've learned and I'm informed. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Magic Winxology. Be sure to check out my socials below. I've got an Instagram, I've got a speak pipe, you can send me a voice clip, you can send me an email, you can stream the podcast on your favorite streaming platform because it is streaming everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Downcast, Cast, everywhere. It's streaming everywhere. Pandora, Amazon Music, everywhere. Be sure to check out a new episode next week, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Have a good week.